Hey buddy, welcome back! In the previous video, you learned how line of sight is determined and how models and units move across the battlefield. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to engage your enemies and resolve attacks. That means we get to roll some dice. Come on, let's check it out! During a battle, your forces will engage the enemy in both ranged and melee combat. Ranged combat occurs when a unit initiates a shooting activation. This involves a unit selecting targets that are in range of its ranged weapon and in line of sight. The range in inches of a unit's ranged weapon is shown on your spec cards in the middle row under the crosshairs icon. As explained in a previous tutorial, line of sight is determined for each individual model within a unit. This concept also applies to the range of ranged weapons, which is determined by measuring from a model's base. Therefore, only models within the unit that are in range and in line of sight of the target can perform the shooting activation. For example, if 2 out of 3 models in your unit are in range and have line of sight of the enemy, you would only be able to make attacks from those 2 models, not the entire unit of 3. Melee combat occurs when a unit initiates a battle activation. Battle activations are initiated between opposing units that are within 1 inch horizontally of each other. This is defined as battle range in the rules and is measured from a model's base. Similar to shooting activations, it's possible that not all of the models in your unit get to participate in the battle activation. A model can only participate if it is within 2 inches horizontally of any model from the target enemy unit. This means that you'll want to get as close as you can to your enemies so your units can fight at their maximum potential. Now that we know the methods for engaging your enemies, let's walk through the process of resolving attacks. Resolving attacks involves 6 simple steps which are laid out on page 2 of the AOT rulebook. Determining the number of attacks, making attack rolls, making resist rolls, determining the amount of damage, allocating that damage, and removing any destroyed models. Your spec cards show the number of attacks each model in a unit has for each of their weapons. All models in the game have a battle weapon, and its specs will be shown on the bottom row of your spec cards. Some models in the game also have a ranged weapon, and its specs will be shown on the middle row of your spec cards. It's important to note that each model in a unit has the number of attacks shown on your spec card. That means a unit of 3 models, showing 5 attacks per model on their unit's spec card, would be able to make 15 total attacks in a given activation. For each attack in an activation, you will roll a d6. These are your attack rolls. Attack rolls are rolled by the attacking commander and are either successful or unsuccessful. Success is determined based on the relationship between the attacking unit's weapon power and the target unit's defense. The weapon's power is shown on your spec cards in the row for the weapon being used. A unit's defense is shown on the top row of your spec cards. If the power of the attacking weapon is greater than the defense of the target unit, the attack rolls are successful on a result of 3 or higher. If the power of the attacking weapon is equal to the defense of the target, the attack rolls are successful on a result of 4 or higher. If the power of the attacking weapon is less than the defense of the target, the attack rolls are successful on a result of 5 or higher. In AOT, an unmodified attack roll result of 6 is deemed a critical hit and is always successful. An unmodified attack roll result of 1 is deemed a critical miss and is always unsuccessful. There are certain other rules that are triggered by the critical hits and misses, but these will be covered in a future video for you to look forward to. The results of the attack rolls will determine how many attacks were successful in the activation. For each successful attack, the defending commander will roll a d6. These are your resist rolls. The success of a resist roll is determined based on the resist spec of the target unit, which is shown on the top row of your spec cards. A successful resist roll means that the target unit resists the attack and does not suffer any damage from it. Each resist roll that is unsuccessful will result in the target unit suffering damage. The amount of damage suffered is determined by multiplying the number of attacks not resisted by the damage spec of the attacking unit's weapon. A weapon's damage is shown in your spec cards in the row for the weapon being used. The commander of the target unit must now allocate the damage suffered to the models in their unit. They can choose which model in the unit to start allocating the damage to, but once a model has suffered damage, any further damage suffered by the unit must be allocated to that damaged model until it is destroyed. Then, the commander would select the next model in their unit to begin allocating damage to. This rule prevents you from spreading damage across the models in a unit while keeping them all alive and fighting. A model is destroyed when its health is reduced to 0. The health spec of a model is shown on the top row of your spec cards, and it represents the full health of a model at the start of a battle. Each point of damage suffered by a model reduces its remaining health accordingly. It's important to track this on the battlefield for the benefit of yourself and your opponents, and can be done by simply placing a d6 next to the damaged model, showing how much health remains. Another important thing to note is that a single attack cannot inflict damage to more than one model. This means an attack that inflicts more than one damage does not overflow to damage multiple models in the target unit. For example, if a model in a unit has 1 health, and it is hit by an attack that does 2 damage, that attack destroys the model with 1 health, but the extra point of damage is wasted and does not overflow to damage a different model in the unit. The final thing to note when allocating damage and removing destroyed models from the battlefield is that a unit must still remain in unit coherency at all times. This means that after removing destroyed models, the remaining models in the unit must be in a coherent unit as covered in a previous tutorial. Now you know how to resolve attacks in the heat of battle. This is the primary mechanic in AOT that involves interaction between commanders, so you'll have plenty of opportunities to practice as you play the game. Now you can get out there and confidently roll some dice. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up to help others find it as well. By subscribing to the channel, you'll get notified as the next tutorial videos are released. To become a part of the growing Archives of Tomorrow community, you can join the official Discord channel, which is linked down in the description below. You can also support the game's continued development by subscribing to the Patreon, which will earn you a free digital copy of all future lore books, as well as a shout out on future videos. On that note, a huge thank you to the Harbingers of AOT. Your continued support means the world to me. That's it for now. See you next time, Commander.